It's a beautiful, beautiful green day here, and I'm sitting here and I'm about to put in an order. Like, I'm so close to just going in here and putting in $100,000 worth of curve, which is an ETH play. But I think I'm gonna stop myself. And the reason why I think I'm gonna stop myself is because I think that this is a trap, and I think that this market is gonna go green, but then I think the real leverage flash is actually gonna come. So that's the bad news. But the good news is that as soon as this leverage flash is over, and I think the leverage flash will happen pretty soon, as soon as the leverage flash is over, then I think we're getting into this part of the altcoin bull market. I think that we're sitting round about here, and if you look at the data, this is the 22nd or 24th of November 2020, which is exactly an election year, exactly 4 years ago. It's a halving year. And it really marked the beginning of an alt season. And what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing the same signs that I saw back then, where we're getting the massive altcoin shift that's starting to happen. And so I'm going to talk to you about the altcoin shift. I'm going to talk to you about which tokens are really going to benefit from the altcoin shift. I'm going to show you where the trap is going to come before that, and how to avoid the trap before that. And then I've got some really low cap gems that I don't think anybody's actually spoken about yet, and I'm going to show you why I think those low cap gems are actually going to run. So one of the best shows that we've ever done today. It's going to be an amazing show. Stick around, guys. Stick around until the very end, because there's lots that's going to go on here today. There's going to be tons and tons of information here. So let's go. You know, it's so tempting. It's so tempting because I know what's going to run next, and I just want the opportunity to buy it. It's almost like I can see one or 2 months down the line. I can see exactly which tokens are going to move. I want to buy those tokens because the market's green, and I don't want to miss out on buying the tokens before the market runs away. But the truth is, I'm smarter than that. And because I'm smarter than that, and because I've been here for a while, I know this is a trap. And I know this green market is designed to trap us before we get one more leg down. And the reason why I know that is, pretty simply, none of the things that I was looking for to flash out the leverage, to flash out the crazy leverage and the euphoria in the market, none of those things have actually been flashed out. And so if I look at this market, I say, okay, great, this is a great relief rally, so to speak. But it could actually be a trap, because if I look at the 4-hour charts here, if I look at the 4-hour and I look at this trend where Bitcoin was actually going up, what I can see here is I can see that we broke down below this trend line, and now we're coming in for the perfect retest. While at the same time, you've got the leverage, which was worrying me, which is the first thing that actually told me that there's going to be some kind of correction. And that leverage hasn't flashed itself out. You can see that leverage is still very much there. The problem with this leverage that we have is that if you look at the funding is not very heated. So the problem is, when you have high leverage, but not very heated funding, the problem is that it's not costing the people that are taking leverage a lot of money to actually take that leverage. And so there's no real, you could say, time value, if you want to call it that. There's no real time value of holding the leverage. And so the problem with this kind of leverage is that it doesn't get flushed out unless we actually start coming down, right? And so the problem is we're not coming down fast enough. And because we're not coming down fast enough, you're not getting that leverage flush. So unfortunately, when I look at this leverage and I look at the funding rates and I say, okay, we've got kind of neutral funding rates and we've got a very high leverage, and the charts have kind of told me in 2 places that there's going to be a breakdown. The first place that I see there's going to be a breakdown is here, because we broke down below this trend. Now we're going to come back here, and either we're going to smash through it at 95.5, or we're going to reject again with the perfect retest and actually start moving down. That's the first chart that's showing me something. The second chart that's showing me something is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So if you look at this long trend that Bitcoin dominance has been on the up, it's actually come to this kind of resistance. And so if what logic here says to us is, or what the charts say to us is, we'll probably reject here and bounce up a little bit. Now, the good news is that when we actually do land up bouncing up a little bit, that'll be like almost like the last bounce before we actually break down and we get a massive altcoin rotation and we get a whole lot of money going into the altcoins. And I'll show you that flow into the altcoins in a couple of seconds. So that is the thesis for today. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed that thesis, then join the subscriber count. This channel, almost 1.15 million and growing every single day. And I don't know, guys, if you've been watching, but Sheldon actually has been doing amazing big shows. I mean, yesterday I had the biggest show in the entire industry. The man is absolutely on fire. So join the family, watch myself, Sheldon, Kyle, all of us on this channel. And if you're here and you're enjoying the alpha, just smash the like button. Just keep smashing the like button, because it's like an energy button for me. The more likes you give, the more energy I get, the more alpha I give. Today I've got tons and tons of alpha for you, including a look into the future. And the reason why I say a look into the future is because I've been here before and I've seen exactly this thing. In fact, it's so uncanny that if I rewind back to 2020, right? 2020, and I remember this very well. I remember what they called the Thanksgiving massacre, where Bitcoin was at about 20,000 and it crashed below 16,000. When you look at the charts today, and you look at the Bitcoin charts and you go back to Thanksgiving in 2020, which is here in November. So it's like in the big scheme of things, that crash that we thought was like this massive crash in 2020 over here. Like at the time, that was like the biggest crash ever. But just look what a small blip that is in the big scheme of things. So Bitcoin went from 19,661 to there, to 17.8%. And that was what they called the Thanksgiving massacre back in 2020. Now, it was an election year. It was a halving year. It was the same week as this year, basically entering into the Thanksgiving week. And we got the 17.8% correction, which is, I mean, we kind of had already seen on Bitcoin. We were at like 99 and we went back to 92. So we got like a 7 or 8% correction. And as I say, I hope it's over, but I don't think that it's over yet. And if it's not over yet, history could be repeating itself. And if history is repeating itself, then it's actually quite an exciting time to be alive. And the reason why I say that is because I was around, and what you know is you always buy the Thanksgiving dump, and then you hold the Thanksgiving dump or the stuff that you bought up until Christmas, and you can actually sell it on Christmas or sell it just before the inauguration, and you can land up making a ton of cash. So let's go back to 2020, and you can kind of see. So that was let's see if we can get this. You see, like in the big scheme of things, these crashes are so minuscule that it's even hard to see them on the charts. So this was the dump on Thanksgiving. It's this dump over here. Then from bottom to the 5th of January, more or less, which is when the 76% until the inauguration in January. So it's like, just think about, like, this is probably how it's going to play out. That's what history is telling us, that this is more or less how it's going to play out. So I'm on standby and I've got my cash ready for this Thanksgiving correction or Black Friday correction or whatever it is, because what I know afterwards is that we're going to get this amazing run. And not only are we going to get an amazing run, but usually this is when the new entrants come in. So generally, people go to Thanksgiving. Now, look, there are some years where we aren't really welcome at Thanksgiving, or we don't want to go to Thanksgiving because the crypto markets are down. But this is one of those years where we're going to go to Thanksgiving like a boss. You're going to arrive there. You're going to open up your shirts, like show your chest, put your chest out. You're going to arrive at Thanksgiving like an absolute boss. And what you're going to realize is that people are going to start wanting to throw money at you. I bet you when you're sitting down, you talk to them about meme coins, the guy's going to say, well, can we give you like $1,000 or $10,000 for you to actually buy meme coins for us? That's what's going to happen to this Thanksgiving. Because usually this Thanksgiving, what happens at Thanksgiving is everyone wants to talk to the crypto people. There's all the talk around what are you buying? And then after Thanksgiving, we actually get a massive pump. And that pump is usually the beginning of what we know now as the big money flow into alt season. And so someone says, believe in something. That's what 2020 looks like. And this is what 2024 looks like. And the years are very similar in structure. So this is what I believe in. I believe that we are going to get maybe a slight dip. Hopefully it won't go down to my bottom target. My bottom target was around 77,800, which was the CME gap. Hopefully it doesn't get that low. But right now, I'm just worried that this is a trap, so I'm not rushing into actually buying anything. If we break back above this line, so if we break back into this trend, so for you guys, it's 95,675. If we break above this 95,675, then it's your license to actually carry on buying this thing, because that means that the trend line isn't broken. But for now, the trend line looks like it's broken. And what I'm worried about is I'm worried about the retest here. I'm very, very, very worried about the fact that we're going to have a retest and then we're going to go down and flush out the leverage. And at the same time, close this one open CME gap at 78. That's more or less where the CME gap is. So that's the thesis around the capital rotation. One of the other things that you can see here is that this Bitcoin dominance is at a very critical support resistance level. If Bitcoin goes up now, then we need to watch which way the altcoin dominance goes. My suspicion is that if Bitcoin goes up, the dominance will actually break down because we're going to move into this alt season, this alt season now. And the reason why I say that is because I'm starting to see that there has been a massive shift in capital rotation. When I say a massive shift in capital rotation, up until now, the cycle has been very much about capital flowing into Bitcoin first, right? And what we've waited for is we've waited for signs that the Bitcoin run is going to stop and we're going to start getting more money going into the altcoins. And specifically, when you look at the altcoins, traditionally, we've actually looked at Ethereum, right? Now, a lot of people said that this cycle is going to be Bitcoin, Solana, memes, and no ETH at all. But I've always said that as much as I'm not the biggest fan of the ETH technology, the one thing that I am a big fan of is the fact that there is an ETH ETF. And what we've seen in the last 3 days on the ETH ETF is we've seen that money has flowed out of the Bitcoin ETF and money has flown into the ETH ETF, right? So about 70 million has flown out of the Bitcoin ETF and about 134 million has flown into the ETH ETF, which is the first time that we've seen this capital rotation on the traditional markets. And when I look at the capital rotation is not actually only in the ETFs, it's also when I look at the options. So if I look at the options market on ETH, and this is specifically where TradFi start looking at what they're buying. Look at the parabolic run on the Ethereum CME futures open interest. This means that what Wall Street is talking about now is they're saying, look, the Bitcoin trade is actually overtraded. And when the Bitcoin trade is overtraded, what they're going to do is they're going to move out of the Bitcoin trade, but they still want to stay in crypto. And for them, the options of staying in crypto, they can't go and buy Popcat and 𝗙 and whatever else. So what do? They basically have two trades, which of course, both of them I've taken, right? So the first trade that I've taken is to say, well, you know what? Maybe time to get slightly out of Bitcoin and maybe slightly time to go longer into ETH. I wouldn't be the only one that's doing it. Wall Street's doing it over here, as you can see. And you can see it over here. And so maybe now what they're looking at is they're going, look, this ETH BTC chart, which is when you compare the ETH price to the Bitcoin price, or you chart ETH against Bitcoin, which has been in this long channel going down for the started over there on September 22. And actually, I think it even started before that. It actually started somewhere in 2021. It started here. When you look at this channel that has been going down, we're now bouncing up in that channel over there. Now, this bounce over here basically gives a sign to Wall Street. Now, the sign to Wall Street is very simple. The signs are murky, but Bitcoin and MicroStrategy compressing. Now, when they say Bitcoin and MicroStrategy compressing, they're talking about the price of MicroStrategy and the price of Bitcoin almost like coming together, compressing, which means people aren't willing to pay a big enough premium on MicroStrategy's leverage. They're basically reducing the leverage trade of MicroStrategy, which is actually exactly what I did. So I sent this to the guy who does all our trading. I said, sell 50% of our MicroStrategy position and actually go and buy Coinbase. So the question is, why are we selling MicroStrategy and buying Coinbase? Well, we're selling MicroStrategy because we think that the trade is extremely heated, right? The MicroStrategy trade ran much too fast, and it ran too fast because people were aping into Bitcoin. But over the last couple of days, it has started to come down a little bit. So you can see it started to come down a little bit and it's starting to cool down. Now, I think that what's going to happen now is from a Wall Street point of view, they want to trade out of Bitcoin into ETH. Now, if you were sitting in Wall Street and you wanted to trade out of Bitcoin into ETH, then effectively your biggest Bitcoin proxy is to sell MicroStrategy. And your biggest ETH proxy is probably Coinbase because it's ETH plus the entire crypto market and alt season plus the base sequencing fees. And so the trade for me is sell MicroStrategy, go into Coinbase. In other words, the message that I'm sending is that MicroStrategy has become overheated And against Coinbase, it's probably a good trade. A good trade. So let's see if we can actually get a chart of MicroStrategy divided by Coinbase and see if we can actually mark that chart and see if that works. Okay, I don't know if this is working. Yeah, so MicroStrategy divided by Coinbase. Let's actually, so I've now made a chart of MicroStrategy divided by Coinbase, and I'm going to put that there so we can see more or less when we call this trade. And let's see if it's better to hold MicroStrategy or Coinbase. I suspect that because now we're moving into an ETH season, then probably the Coinbase will be the better one. That's why I actually made that shift. What I also know is that ETH is about to have a golden cross. So in about 2 to 3 days, we should get a golden cross on ETH on the daily. Now, the last time that we had a golden cross on ETH was in November 2023, and ETH went up 100%. Before that, the last time we had a golden cross on ETH was in 2020, and again we went up like, I think. Let's actually just see if we can. Let's have a look here. Let's go ETH USD, and let's put the 200 and the 50. So you can see that this golden cross will probably happen somewhere around here. So in about a week or so. And you can see the last time that we had a golden cross, which was here, we went up from here about 110%. And if we go to the time before that where we had the golden cross, which was here it is over here, we went up about 50%. And then the big golden cross was actually the one that actually started over here and took us all the way up into the top of the alt season. So this golden cross is about to happen on ETH, as you can see. So as you saw over here, the golden cross is about to happen on ETH. Let's go here. I reckon 5 or 6 more days is where we get that golden cross. And that's really when ETH actually really starts to accelerate. Also, just if you look at the seasonality on ETH, you kind of just know that every November marks a good altcoin, a good run for ETH, specifically in the election years. So this is now ETH time. Now, look, I know a lot of you are saying, but hold on, Ryan, you tweeted this and you said you don't really love ETH as your best play in the whole world. And the truth is, look, from a technological point of view, I mean, it's ETH. It's not a great protocol. I think that there are millions and millions and millions of developers, and they are spending their time trying to solve a problem which has already been solved on other platforms, right? So it's like these guys are all trying to solve things like scalability and how to make ETH have more transactions and more transactions faster. Truth is, Solana's already done that. So from a long-term point of view, I don't really see much point in like having a lot of ETH things. But listen, in the short term, I like money just as much as the next person likes money. So like if I see an opportunity and I know that there's going to be a rotation, I'm going to take that trade, right? Because I'm not an idiot. Like I'm not sentimentally attached. And so you can see that I took a massive trade here and it's actually started to pay off here. Like I bought, hold on, where is that trade? Here, I bought 2,300 ETH. 2,300 ETH is a $7 million notional position. I bought it on leverage, and it's now about $1.2 million up. And you can see that I'm starting to add other ETH betas to this portfolio. I've got a Lido position here, which is another $42,000 up. So I'm starting to buy ETH and ETH betas. And the reason why I'm doing that is, look, not because I love ETH and I think the technology of ETH is absolutely unbelievable, because it's not. Like, just let's call a spade a spade. The Solana devs have solved all these ETH devs are all working tirelessly every single day. And they're working to solve scalability, which has already been solved by Solana, by Sui, by Aptos, by a whole lot of others, right? But they've got so much liquidity tied up in it that for some of them, it's just they just can't let go. And so those ETH betas are absolutely going to run. So as much as I'm not a long-term believer in ETH, I do know that ETH has an ETF, and I do know that ETH has a whole ecosystem around it, which is guaranteed to pump. And I'm gonna play the game, right? So that gets me excited. The other thing that gets me excited is capital rotation, right? For me, capital rotation is the most exciting thing here, because finally we're seeing the real path to alt season. We've been talking about this path to alt season, but you got Bitcoin, then you got Ethereum, then you got large caps. And now what we're starting to see is the shift into Ethereum. And so this means that lots and lots and lots of money, which was in Bitcoin, some of it's going to flow into Ethereum, but now the new money is going to flow into Ethereum, and then that's going to feed our large cap alts. And you can see that that is the real path to alt season. When we looked at the alt season index just a couple of days ago, it was on like 35, right? Which means that 35 of the top 100 coins had outperformed Bitcoin. Now, these guys, I think they're wrong, but anyway, we're not going to argue with them. They say alt season starts when this line hits 75. Now, I don't agree that that's when alt season starts. I think that that's when alt season's already overheated. You want to get in on the way up so that when it gets here, you've already made your money. So you've got to start thinking of what the next move is. And you'll remember that when we looked at this chart about a week ago, and we looked at the bubbles, and we said, okay, let's actually look at the bubbles instead of against USD. Let's look at it on Bitcoin. And a week ago, those bubbles were all red. But today, when you look at them against Bitcoin, you can see in the last week, a lot of tokens have actually made up a lot of ground against Bitcoin, right? And that is what you call the beginning of the big capital rotation and the beginning of the real alt season. Now, why am I excited about November and the real alt season? It's pretty simple. I've been here before, and I know what's about to happen. So it's like when you've watched a movie before, right? And you kind of know what's about to happen next. Josh, have you ever watched like one of your movies on like YouPorn, right? Or what's it? What's it called? That site that you always leave open?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. So when you watch and you know exactly what the next movie, you know what's going to happen next, right? You know exactly what's going to happen next in those movies. So that's why I'm so excited, because I know that we are here. From an election year, we are here. From the time of year, we are here at Thanksgiving. From a sentiment point of view, we are here, right? Like you can see exactly where we are. And I know what happens next. What happens next is again, like I say, the only way that I can call it is this is like face melting. Your faces will actually melt in what actually happens next. So as I say, I think that we may get this leverage flash. My test here is we need to get back into this trend. If we get into this trend, then I'm releasing all my altcoin trades, which is not very far from where we are now. We're at 94.7 and we need to close at about 96. That's like kind of like where we want to be. But then we go into face melting mode, which is this mode over here. It's like we're going to absolute complete face melting mode. In fact, in 2020, we went up here 808%. On all the alts. Imagine all your alts go up at least 8x. Solana will go up to $1,600. Like just imagine, it can happen. It happened in the last cycle. In fact, let me show you what happened to ETH in the last cycle, because let's just say that Solana is the ETH of the last cycle, right? So let's look at ETH and let's go to 2020 over here. And let's just look at how well ETH did. So ETH went from about $566 to $3,807 or to $4,000. So that was an 8x on ETH. We got an 8x on ETH. Now, an 8x on Sol would give Sol the same valuation that ETH had at that point in time. So just gives you an idea, right? So let's just look at ETH market cap. ETH market cap. Can you do an ETH market cap here? ETH, yeah, market cap ETH. There we go. So market cap ETH. And if we go look at the market cap of ETH here, it had a market cap of $65 billion, right? And what happened was ETH went to a market cap of $600 billion. Now, if you look at where Solana is now, so Sol is right now at a market cap of, okay, 100 billion. It makes perfect sense that we can go up 5 times on Sol. So you're kind of looking at a Solana price of like $1,250, $1,300. I think, to be honest, I think that's more than realistic. That's more than realistic to get that at the end of this altcoin cycle. So those are the kind of runs that you can imagine. Now, if Solana is going to go up 5x, imagine what happens to the smaller altcoins, right? You get 10x's, 20x's, 30x's. In fact, I actually saw someone in Frontrunners actually posted something. I wonder if I've got it here. There was a guy in Frontrunners who actually got his first 10x. He got his first 10x on Frontrunners. And I don't know like if you guys have had a 10x, but it's an amazing, amazing, amazing feeling. But to get a 10x so early in the game is ridiculous, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. So again, it happened in front runners. Actually, I have to find you this thing here. Researchers, just tag in the show group, just tag that guy's here, let me get it for you guys, just so you can see. Here we go. The researchers are watching the show for a change. Hold on, let me find it for you. Okay, so this is hold on, let's open it for you guys so you can see it. So this is a guy who's in the front runners. I don't know him personally, but I've obviously seen him a lot in front runners. He said, shout out to you, man. 𝗙𝗓 was my first 10x of the cycle. In hindsight, I bought too little of the bag, but I added 𝗙𝗓 at the bottom. So this is what's going on in front runners. Guys are already making 10x's. Now, I want to remind you of something. We have a Black Friday special, which is only up until Black Friday. It's not going to happen again. And after Black Friday, we're going to close the waiting list. If you want to join front runners, try it out for a month. I guarantee you will make your money back. There is a Black Friday special. After Friday, the special is finished. You're seeing it for yourself. I don't know what else to do, how else to tell you this. You're seeing this every single day on the show. People are making 5x's, 10x's, 100% on their money. You need to join this community. And here's your opportunity to do it at 50% off on the Black Friday special. It ain't happening again. I cannot keep repeating this message for you guys. So back to business. So as I said, I think that now the trade is to get into ETH betas, right? Right now, just get into ETH betas. We've had a Solana run, and I think now the money's going to flow into ETH and ETH betas. And it's like, you don't have to be too complicated about it, because if you look at the bubbles, and I'm actually going to go back to looking at them against USD, right? So you look at the bubbles, and you look at the bubbles against USD, and just quickly refresh it. I think it's refreshed. Here we go. And you look at what's actually running today. It's things like Uniswap, it's things like Aave, it's things like Athena, which means that the truth is you don't have to be a genius. All you need to do is just play the ETH betas. That's all you need to do. And I mean, if you want to talk about the basic ETH betas, then, you know, I said it before. Curve, actually, to be honest, I took another position in Curve today at 48 cents. I know I wasn't supposed to, but I did. We made a big move into Velodrome, and I bought ETH options because the ETH options are an absolute no-brainer. So actually, let's just check on my ETH options position quickly. I mean, remember, this account was like a 60 grand account. And then I started buying ETH options. And I think now, oh God, I'm not doing a KYC now. You got to be out of your mind. 195,000 in this wallet. And why? Because I landed up buying ETH options. So just look at the value of my ETH options here. And so, like, again, buying ETH betas, buying ETH options is very simple. In terms of ETH betas, which one do you buy? I mean, for me, I'm buying Curve because I think that stable coins are going to be a big thing. And because I think stable coins are going to be a big thing, Curve is an exchange specifically for trading stable coins with the smallest slippage. And so if I look at this chart just says, I mean, look, truth is, I'm not like the biggest chartist in the world, but that says, that's, Josh, if this was Crypto Legends, like what would be happening here?
We'd be in a lot earlier.
You'd be in earlier, but what about trading the breakout?
Sure.
I mean, look, we did buy it earlier, Josh. You know, at front runners, we did say here, you can see here, because you know, I have receipts to prove it. So you see, I have a receipt that says Curve at 41 cents.
What's the date there?
That's 22nd, bro. That's like 4 days ago. Good return, eh?
Very good.
Better than Crypto Legends or not better than Crypto Legends?
Not better, but good.
Yeah. So like the basic ones that you can buy Curve, you can buy EigenLayer. Again, like EigenLayer is going to continue to go up. The reason why EigenLayer is going to continue to go up is because it's like the best technology on ETH, or the most exciting technology on ETH. Using ETH, you restake your ETH. Otherwise, Lido, I still think that there's a big way up in Lido. I have taken a position. You know, you can see it over here. Here's my position over here. And there's another position on one of my other accounts. You can see I've got here, I think I've got 100,000 Lido, but in other accounts, I've got a whole lot of Lidos. So that's another one that is probably worth looking at. And then, of course, Athena. And the reason why I like Athena is because I think if you look at the chart of Athena, this thing's just going to steadily keep climbing up. So, and I do think that Athena becomes like the de facto algo stablecoin in the world. This is a massive one. So if you're looking for safe plays, just go for the first, for the basic ones here, right? That's like, it's so simple. You don't need to look for more. But then the truth is that if you want to go a little bit more degen and you want to go a little bit more stinky, I can do it. I mean, I can be stinky just like the next man can be stinky, right? So like, if you want like degen, like if you're saying, look, I like 𝗪𝗢𝗡, I like 𝗙𝗧𝗧, I like 𝗥𝗬𝗧, but you know what? The truth is, those aren't going to excite me. Then specifically, like at a certain age, it's very hard to get excited, right? So you know who you are. So if those things don't excite you and you need something a little bit more exciting, then you can get a little bit more stinky. And what you can say is, okay, look, ETH is maybe a little bit like old, but the real ETH is actually base, right? And you say to yourself, okay, I want some exposure to base. Now, until recently, the narrative on base has been something like, look, if you can't have a base token, so you can only buy the meme coin, which is Brett or Miggles, or you can buy 𝗟𝗡𝗩𝗘, which we all bought. We all made fortunes on 𝗟𝗡𝗩𝗘, or you can buy Moonwell, which is the staking protocol. But that's it. Like that's so those were your only plays on the base protocol. But now, actually, when you look at base, there's a lot of stuff actually happening on base. So like, I don't want to go into all the protocols, but just to show you that now all of a sudden there is a whole lot of amazing protocols on base. So again, like if you want to play the ETH narrative, either go for ETH and go for the big betas, 𝗥𝗬𝗓, 𝗪𝗡𝗢𝗙, Lido, Athena, those guys. Just get yourself a portfolio of those. Get it maybe slightly with leverage if you think that they're not exciting for you, or maybe get options. If you want to take leverage, again, Black Friday specials. I'm going to blow your minds with these Black Friday specials. 10% off all your exchange fees for a year if you sign up between now and Black Friday on Bybit, BitGet, and Blowfin. 10% back. That's a lot of money that you're going to get actual cash back in fees. So go and do it before Black Friday. On Blowfin, there's no KYC. So anyone can open an account. You can trade it as much as you want. No one will ever know about it. Well, I will know about it, but and you'll know about it, and your girlfriend will know about it, but no one else will know about it. So, as I said, if you want to get more degen, then go to base. And there's a whole lot of plays on base. Now, again, these are much smaller and may go up much more and go down much more if the market actually lands up going down. So I want to quickly take you through a quick list of plays on base, which may actually be decent. Okay, so, hey, why did they remove one of my tokens? Why did they hide it? Somebody hit a column here. Let's just see why. What are they hiding here? Okay. So we said, okay, look, the first thing is go and buy Coinbase, because Coinbase is a really good one. Then you got the lending protocol, staking to lend, so putting in to get yield, and that's Moonwell, and that's had a bit of a run. But now the new shiny object when it comes to lending and borrowing on what started on ETH but is now actually big on base is this protocol called Morpho, right? So if you look at this protocol called Morpho, here it is over here. It's effectively where you stake. It's a lending and borrowing protocol. Started on ETH, now also operating on base. Got a very high TVL. You can see the TVL is just growing and growing and growing. And even though it started as an optimizer on Compound, it's now basically its own protocol, and it has much more assets under management than Compound. So if you're looking for more degen, Morpho Labs is one of them. Now, look, be careful buying it today, because I wanted to bring you this alpha this morning, but then they got a Binance futures listing, and then it shot up a little bit. But that said, it's still pretty cheap, right? Relative to, let's just have a look at the market cap here. So Morpho. Okay, it's up 40% there. Be careful buying it. Be careful buying it today, because it just got the Binance listing while the show was actually going on. Market up 1.3. So I think hold off on this one just because it already got the listing. The next one that I would look at is Mode. Okay, so what is Mode? Mode is like the virtuals. It's like a different version of virtuals, right? So it's an AI agent app store, which I just want to show you how cool this is. Anyone can go in and connect a wallet and effectively create an AI agent. So, I mean, to summarize it, what it is, it's an L2 which is built on the Optimism Superchain ecosystem, which is like an ecosystem which all flows into each other. Now, it's building an ecosystem of DeFi AI agents. Launch a DeFi agent marketplace. 37 agents are live. So you can see here, like for example, there's an AI agent called Armor, maximize yield on Circle USDC. So you can literally deploy AI agents to execute financial tasks and other tasks. And so that's a protocol called Mode, which I think is pretty good. Then you've got Clanker. Now, Clanker is like a pump.fun on Farcaster or Base. You can see it over here. I think it's okay. I think it's over here. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, so go and have a look at it. It's clanker.world/clanker. And this is basically like a pump.fun, which is linked to Farcaster and Base. And then, I mean, if you're looking at the restaking narrative and you don't want to buy EigenLayer because EigenLayer is just too expensive, one of the ones that we've been looking at and one of the ones that we've been calling for quite a long time in Frontrunner is actually called Puffer. And you can see here that what Puffer actually is, it's a restaking project that is, it's just, you could say like a much smaller, not exactly a smaller version of EigenLayer, but it plays into exactly the same narrative. So again, what I think is, I think we're going to get an ETH season now. And I think as we get this ETH season, you need to just be in ETH, ETH related betas. That's all you need to do. Don't overthink it. Just go and get yourself a bag of ETH related tokens, and you'll end up making a lot of money automatically just because the tide is going up. Now again, be careful. Don't go and ape in until and unless we break this this line over here. Watch out, because this could be a trap. You don't want to be the ones caught in a trap. Remember, traps are designed to make you believe that the dump is over. Again, I'll change my thesis and I'll start buying if we actually get through this trend line. Then I'm going to change my thesis and I'm actually going to start buying and wait for the next opportunity to leverage flash. So that's the ETH narrative. Another big thing that is probably worth talking about is this Tornado Cash thing, which happened today, which is quite a big, it hasn't been spoken about, but it's quite a big ruling. So let's just quickly talk about what actually happened. So the headline is that the US court rules that sanctions which were placed against Tornado Cash Mixer were actually unlawful. So let's just quickly, for the newbies who haven't been here before, just quickly talk about what Tornado Cash actually is. There is a protocol called Tornado Cash. And what Tornado Cash is, I want to see if it's actually possible to get in here. So here it is. The Tornado Cash is up 400% today, as you can see. And I don't know, I wonder if you can, okay, so you see it's blocked. Now, the reason why Tornado Cash is blocked is the following. Tornado Cash is what you call a mixer. Now, what is a mixer? A mixer is a privacy protocol where if I want to pay you using ETH or any ETH related protocols, the problem is that immediately you'd get access to see all my wallets. So if I pay someone for coffee using ETH or USDC on ETH, they can see exactly which wallet it's come from. And then that way they can see exactly what my holdings are and how much money I've got. And that kind of information is not really information that you want to give to everyone that you land up paying, right? And so these developers landed up building this thing called a mixer. And what a mixer is, effectively, we all throw our ETH transactions into this bottle. The mixer basically mixes, oh, this is sparkling water. This is going to be amazing. The mixer mixes our ETH. And then when the ETH gets paid out, you don't really know whose ETH it is. And it's like a whole lot of addresses in the one side, a whole lot of addresses out the other side. And you can't link the one address to another address. It's called a mixer. And of course, the US government and governments around the world didn't like mixers. And the reason why they didn't like mixers was they kind of said, look, the problem with mixers is we're not in control. We can't follow the flow of money. And they said, you can pay money into terrorism. And so what happened was the founder of Tornado Cash was actually arrested and he was put into jail. I think he's actually still in jail in the Netherlands. Now, they didn't really have, in the US, they didn't really have charges they could put against these guys, and they didn't have any other way to close down Tornado Cash. And so what they did was they put sanctions. Literally, they went and put sanctions on Tornado Cash. But the judge ruled today that the sanctions on Tornado Cash were actually unlawful. And the bigger news here is that what it says, as a result of today's action, all property and interest in property of the entity above, that is in the United States possession or control, is blocked and must be reported to OFAC. That is when they put the sanctions on them. They said, look, from that point on, there were sanctions against anyone whose wallet had interacted with Tornado Cash. Anyone who used the Tornado Cash front end basically had sanctions against him. And the judge ruled today that those sanctions were actually illegal, right? And so now, the 6 plaintiffs, they argued Tornado Cash included is list exceeded OFAC statutory authority. The district court disagreed, granting summary judgment to the department of finding Tornado Cash subject to OFAC sanctioning authority. Van Loon other plaintiffs. OFAC's concerns with illegal foreign actors laundering funds are undeniably legitimate. Perhaps Congress would understand another act enacted during the Carter administration. Until then, we hold that Tornado Cash's immutable smart contracts are not property of the foreign national or the entity, meaning they cannot be blocked. OFAC overstepped its congressional defined authority. Now that means that privacy won, smart contracts won, Tornado Cash won, and OFAC lost, right? And that the government had overstepped its thing. This could usher in a massive narrative around privacy. Okay, so look out for privacy coins, because the reason why privacy didn't run is because they realized what happened to Tornado Cash. But the court basically said, we have a right to privacy, right? And so you need to start looking at privacy tokens. What are the privacy tokens? Well, one of them is 𝗘𝗫𝗖. The reason why I like 𝗘𝗫𝗖 is because 𝗘𝗫𝗖 is using this new technology called fully homomorphic encryptions, and they're creating a layer 2 on ETH privacy chain. The other one, which is probably a good one, but I wouldn't buy it now. I'm sure it's probably jumped, but let's see, Zcash. Okay, so it's up 12% today. I wouldn't buy this. Monero is another one, but again, Monero is not plugged into the exchanges, so it's very, very, very hard to get Monero. But I think you should keep your eyes open for a privacy narrative run, because a privacy narrative, this Tornado Cash thing is going to flow into the market. And when it does flow into the market, the whole market's going to realize that there is a big space for these privacy coins, which have actually been like a lot neglected. Because and the reason why they were neglected is because of this Tornado Cash thing. So that is the Tornado Cash story. I think it's a massive win that the market hasn't actually like really started celebrating. Alrighty, so now Black Friday time. Remember, I said to you this week we're going to give you a whole lot of Black Friday specials, which I think, like, again, we're on Wednesday. You got one more day to take advantage of these things. So first thing is, sign up to any exchange, get 10% off your trading fees for a full year. If you sign up to Bybit, get 𝗏𝗏𝗡. If you want a ledger and you want the Ledger Flex, you will get $70 worth of Bitcoin back. Just look how cool this is. This is the new ledger. Do it before Black Friday. You get $70 worth of Bitcoin loaded onto your ledger. Also, very, 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 very important. Dylan has started a trading course. I actually watched the trading course. The reason why I watched it is because I looked at all the videos.
Trading. Right now, you're standing on the edge of something amazing. Your trading journey is about to level up. Now, most traders struggle with technical analysis because it can be complex, it can be subjective, and it can be incredibly time consuming. You're stuck guessing where the market is going next. You start second guessing your setups, you're questioning your confidence. That's why we've built the accelerator. We're going to give you some advanced indicators that are actually going to simplify your trading and, most importantly, unlock the clarity and the confidence that you need in your trading. Imagine having tools that work like a GPS for the market. This can take out a lot of guesswork for you.
So if you want to be trading, and you want to be trading, this is not for beginner traders. It's much more for more advanced traders. If you want to be trading using indicators and automated trading, then there's a free course. The course is free, but I think you have to pay for the indicators, and there's Black Friday specials on the actual indicators, but you get a whole course that's actually up. So you get 65% off the indicators, and the course is absolutely free. So I think go and sign up for this. The course is free. Literally all you have to do is put in your email and you basically get in. But do it now before the end of Black Friday. So do it. This is really something that I think that a free course on how to use indicators from Dylan. Dylan's amazing. Dylan's an absolutely amazing trader. We call him the Lord of the Entry because he just always knows when to get in. If you ask his wife, he doesn't know exactly when to get out, but he knows very, very, very well when to get in. That's why he's got lots of kids, bro. Because he's the Lord of Entry, not the Lord of Exit. That's the problem. They ask him. He's got lots of kids. Phone him. Let's phone him quickly. We'll ask him. Let's phone him quickly. Hold on. But we're not going to tell him we live. He won't even know. Hold on. He probably thinks I'm mad. Just quickly, why do they call you the Lord of Entry?
Because I'm amazing at entering things.
And what about exiting? Because your wife tells me your wife tells a different story.
I'm not the best exiter.
Your wife said the same thing to me actually.
Yeah, apologies about that.
How many kids have you got?
Only 4.
Jeez, you see, this is what happens. Lord of entry. I've also got 4 kids. 2 are planned. The 3rd one is tequila. The 4th one is vodka shots. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until my kid's going to hear that, they're going to kill me. Until then, trade well, my friends.